Week 3 of the Las Vegas Raiders OTA practices are underway. And with that being said, we have more news, notes, highlights, observations from another practice here in Vegas as they ramp up to start mandatory minicamp next week, which is when things are going to get a lot more fun. We're going to get to see some more 7-on-7 work, 11-on-11 work, and that's going to be when the media is allowed to film a little bit more of practice, and then they're going to have a major gap between mandatory minicamp and then training camp. But in this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about today's practice, but more importantly, the overall majority of the OTA practices, and basically just keep you guys updated with everything you need to know going forward and what to expect in minicamp, right? Now, before we jump into the video, I actually do want to give a major shout out to all of the Raiders media members out there right now, man. They work so hard, get this film, this footage out for us every single day, and you know, without them, these videos really wouldn't be possible. So you're gonna see some names at the top left of your screen. Go follow them, man. They're gonna keep you guys updated with all the news, notes, highlights in real time, so make sure you guys go follow them right now on Twitter. Shout out to them. They have been amazing throughout the entirety of this offseason so far, and you know, keeping us updated with everything that we need to know. Now, listen, today was an interesting thing, or the last couple of days were very, very interesting here for the Raiders. First of all, they have major cap relief coming now that the post-June 1st release of Jimmy Garoppolo is officially underway. We are seeing that there's way more cap space for the team available, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is now gone, and now we're getting to see a lot of these new quarterbacks come in here and start to make some big-time plays, right? The Gardner Minshews, the Aiden O'Connells, and whatnot. So far, they have been so good, and we need to continue to see them, you know, build rapport, build chemistry with their teammates around them, the Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tuckers, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayers, and that's kind of exactly what they've been doing, you know, so far. But this season just feels different. This offseason, I know, take with a grain of salt because it is just OTAs, but with Antonio Pierce being the full-time head coach, the aura, the energy around this place just seems different in a good way, right? And, you know, we've talked about Antonio Pierce being the leader, right? The culture-driven guy who wants guys to come in here and fight every single day for not only their job, but for, you know, a winning mentality. And so far, that has come true, right? Antonio Pierce has been a leader of men, and everyone wants to play for him, right? So that's one thing I've noticed so far throughout OTAs. And now that mandatory minicamp is just a week away, we're going to get to see a lot more action with Antonio Pierce, but more importantly, we're going to get to see some 7-on-7 footage. So that's what to expect going forward. Now, as for a guy who's looked really good but hasn't really been talked about is Brock Bowers. Now, the reason we haven't been talking about him is because we knew how good he was coming in, and he's displayed exactly that. But they're lining him up pretty much everywhere. You see him lined up wide. You see him lined up at the tight end position, in the backfield. The dude has every capability that you'd want in terms of, you know, being able to catch the football, but also his rushing ability as well. We've seen him one play in Georgia take a 70-yard end around for a touchdown. I mean, the man can do literally everything. He's one of the best run blockers as a tight end, probably day one as a rookie in the NFL, but he's also going to be utilized everywhere. And I think he has been the best tight end on the field, but more importantly, a guy that they trust in the quarterback room, right? The Aiden O'Connells and the Gardner Minshews, the Anthony Browns, they see him as a safety blanket, a safety net. Now, before we get into more depth with the quarterbacks, do me a favor, hit the like button just so we can get this video out to more Raiders fans around the world, but subscribe to the channel more importantly. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering the Raiders throughout the entirety of the offseason. Now, you may be asking, well, what does that include? Well, the rest of OTAs, obviously, mandatory minicamp next week, training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you could think of. And get this, once the season does start, once there is actual games, we're going to be breaking down game footage from the all 22 coaches film, and we're going to make sure you guys are up to date with everything from every game as well. So join the family if you haven't already done so. But boom, let's get back into the video. So Aiden O'Connell is making a ton of progress each and every single day. You can tell his pocket presence, his ability to make throws are getting better and better as he learns this new type of playbook here under Luke Getsy this season, and I feel like he's doing a really good job adjusting. Sometimes, especially if you're a young quarterback, it takes time to, you know, learn a completely different system. But for Aiden O'Connell, he's taking it a day at a time, one day at a time, and that's really working for him so far. And the same thing with Gardner Minshew, man. He is just a seasoned veteran. Love having him here, and you know, he's been really helpful for the development of Aiden O'Connell as well. And these guys don't even seem like they hate each other. They seem like they're really good friends, and they're helping each other each step of the way. So that's been something we love to see. Right tackle, obviously Thayer Munford is the guy who they needed to take that major jump up, and he's done a good job so far. That now that they brought in DJ Glaze, it seems like Thayer's taking everything more seriously. He's got a chip on his shoulder and wants to come out here and just you know, make sure the Raiders are put in really good position to win a lot of football games this year, man. So hopefully he can be the starting right tackle for this football team alongside Colton Miller on the left side, then Jackson Powers Johnson, Andre James, and Dylan Parham. Another thing that was interesting is the defense looks stronger than ever. We got to see guys stand out almost on every single play. The Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Tyree Wilson, Malcolm Kuntz combination on the front four is going to be the most lethal thing in football, in my opinion. Anyway, I think they're going to demoralize guys, and they're already starting to show that in just OTAs. Just imagine when the pads come on, when there's contact, these guys are going to break out for the Raiders, and I am so excited to see what these guys can actually do when the pads come on, right? Byron Young is another guy who's been standing out to the coaching staff as just a hard worker, good mentality, chip on his shoulder, doesn't care about the fame or the money, just wants to play good football and wants to be coached. And I think so far he's been able to do that, and he's got a really good you know, supporting cast around him with not only his teammates but the coaches as well. Another guy who's been looking really, really good in practice, Nate Hobbs. I mean, Nate Hobbs, an absolute dog. Him and Jack Jones are probably going to be probably two of the most fierce corners in the NFL in terms of just, you know, hard-nosed football mentality. You know, I'm really excited to see how they do. But overall, I think this offseason has been a big one for the Raiders. Not only bringing in Antonio Pierce as a full-time head coach, but going out there and drafting BPA, best player available, Brock Bowers, day one target, day one threat, dynamic versatility is one of the things I think about when you think about Brock Bowers. Jackson Powers Johnson, day one starter, dog mentality as well, that left guard position. You bring in Tommy Eichenberg, dog mentality again, just like Robert Spillane, very similar type of players. Then you got to Cameron Richardson. I mean, dude, kind of looks like Tariq Woolen a couple years ago, coming out the draft, very tall, very lengthy, but has insane amount of speed. That's him, right? Trey Taylors, the MJ Devonshires, right? The Dylan Lobbies, right? DJ Glaze. I love what they've done to this team. And, you know, next week we're going to get to deep dive into way more footage and way more highlights and way more news and notes. So I'm excited for that, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next Raiders update. Peace.